They avoid you. And it hurts. Every unanswered message, every deafening silence, every unexplained absence, it feels like rejection. It seems like you are not important, that you perhaps never were. But what if I told you that the reason they are distancing themselves isn't a lack of feeling, but rather an excess of it? It's strange to think that way, right? We've been taught to believe that when someone disappears, it's because they don't care, that those who love are present, that reciprocity is proven by constant presence. But what about when love hurts? When the feeling is so intense that it paralyzes instead of bringing you closer? This person is running away. Yes, running away from you, but more importantly, running away from themselves. Because deep down you've awoken something they weren't ready to feel. I've been through this. I saw someone look into my eyes with fear, not of me, but of what they felt when they looked at me. And this is where many people get lost. They think that withdrawal is coldness when in fact it's a cry for help. They're not protecting themselves from you. They're trying to shield themselves from the intensity that you provoke within them. This kind of feeling is frightening because it's not just a simple like. It's about recognizing oneself. It's seeing in another a mirror that reveals everything that has been hidden for years. Vulnerabilities, fears, unresolved traumas, open wounds. It's as if you've turned on a light in a dark room that they've kept closed for a long time. And now everything is exposed. They try to rationalize. It's better to distance myself now, before I get too involved. I can't let myself go. I'll end up getting hurt. They will eventually leave me like everyone else. These thoughts don't arise out of nowhere. They are echoes of past experiences. Loves that promised the world and left an emptiness. People who said forever and left before the month was out. Beautiful words that turned into broken promises. So they choose silence. She doesn't respond, but she reads. She doesn't call, but she thinks. She doesn't show up, but she feels. And she feels a lot. This feeling is not small. It's not superficial. It's not fleeting. It pulses. It disturbs. It steals her sleep. And because of this, she distances herself. Many people confuse intensity with imbalance. But it's not that. Intensity is heightened sensitivity. It's feeling more than others do. It's noticing nuances, vibrations, silences. And not everyone is prepared for that. This person has probably been hurt by feeling too much. She has been labeled as needy, over the top, complicated. And she has learned through pain that showing too much emotion can be seen as weakness. That's why she now holds back. But holding back isn't the same as forgetting. It's not about stopping the feelings. It's just about keeping them inside. And that keeping can turn into an emotional bomb ready to explode. You have become the trigger. But not a trigger of pain. A trigger of everything she has always wanted but thought she didn't deserve. Of everything she dreamed of but never believed could be real. You're not the problem, you're the confrontation. A confrontation between desire and fear. Between the urge to dive in and the need to protect herself. Between the heart that has already chosen and the mind that still resists. But don't be fooled. Resisting hurts. More than she admits. More than you can imagine. She is tired of fighting against what she feels. Every time she closes her eyes, it's you she sees. Every time her phone buzzes, she hopes it's you, even though she promised herself she wouldn't respond again. Every time she tries to move on, something pulls her back. You have become a home within her, even if she insists on locking the door. Now, maybe you're wondering, and me? Should I stay? Wait? Leave? This is a difficult decision, but here's a truth that might sting a little. You don't have the power to heal the wounds she hides. You can be a presence, warmth, understanding, but the healing, it only comes from within. If she is still in the process of running away from herself, she may not be able to truly find you right now, but that doesn't invalidate what was felt. It doesn't erase what existed. It doesn't lessen the intensity of what you both experienced, even if it didn't last long. And if you're the kind of person who feels deeply, who loves hard, who gives their all, you've probably gone through something similar. You've had to hide an "I love you" because the other person wasn't ready. You've felt your heart race over a message that never came. You've cried silently for someone who was still there. but absent. Loving someone who runs is like trying to hug the wind. You sense their presence, but you can't hold on, and that is exhausting. But it is also transformative, because when you love someone who is struggling with their own feelings, you learn about boundaries, about patience, about letting go of control. You can continue to offer love, but without begging for affection. You can keep the door open, but without standing still waiting. Because true love is not a prison. It's a choice. And the most intriguing part, when this person finally stops running, they'll realize that what they feared the most, your love, was exactly what they needed the most. It may take time. It may come in silence. But one day they will understand that the problem was never feeling too much. The problem was believing that feeling too much was a mistake. And maybe, on that day, they'll seek you out, with eyes full of regret and a heart full of longing. Maybe they'll say, "I'm sorry for running away, and I just didn't know how to deal with all of this." Or maybe they won't say anything at all. Maybe they'll just hug you tightly, like someone who recognizes the place they never should have left. And then, it's up to you to decide. Does it still make sense to make space for someone who has just now decided to stay? Or has your love and that gigantic love already found another path to follow? There is no right answer. What exists is what you feel, and that only you can answer. In the meantime, remember, distance is not always rejection. Sometimes it's just a silent scream from someone who has yet to learn how to love without fear. But still, they already love you, and deeply. And when the heart chooses, there's no logic to explain it, no rationalization to resolve it. It's as if something greater is operating behind the scenes, guiding feelings that the mind insists on resisting. A person can distract themselves, keep busy, go out, pretend they've moved on. But inside there exists an untouched emotional field where your name still echoes strongly. Have you ever felt this, that presence that lingers even in absence? That connection that, no matter how hard one tries to sever, always returns in moments of silence? Well, that's what we're talking about. The problem with those who feel too much is that they love fully. With their body, with their gaze, with their memory. They love in the spaces between words, in the details that no one else notices. And precisely because of that, they get scared. Because loving this way is dangerous. It's giving the other the power to devastate you. And for someone who has already been shattered once, this isn't just risky, it's almost unbearable. This person doesn't run away out of a lack of courage. They run because the last time they had courage they lost themselves. And now they're trying to find themselves again amidst the rubble of old promises that have turned to dust. They don't want to make you another ruin in their own story. That's why they distance themselves. Not because they don't want you, but because they want you too much. And they fear that this desire could turn into dependency, or into pain, or into another disappointment that they don't know if they could endure living through. It's paradoxical, I know, but the human soul is made of paradoxes. Of, I'm leaving because I want to stay. Of, I ignore you because I can't stop thinking about you. Of, I hide because near you I see too much of myself. This person perhaps has never been embraced in their true intensity. Maybe they've always felt too much for those who felt too little. And over time they've formed the idea that love is something that needs to be controlled, measured, planned. But then you came along, and it messed everything up. It disorganized certainties, deconstructed defenses. It made her feel alive again, and that incredibly scared her. Because truly living demands surrender, and surrender demands trust, and trust in her case is a bridge that has collapsed many times. That's why she now walks carefully. One misstep and she falls again. You might be on the other side of that bridge, reaching out your hand, but she's still trying to decide whether to cross. Fear holds her back. Desire pushes her forward. And in this in-between state, she silences, disappears. She avoids you, but you remain present, in her thoughts, in her heart, in the songs she listens to that immediately remind her of you, in the memories that surface out of nowhere, in the dreams where her name blends with yours. The truth is that there's a battle happening inside her, and it's not against you. It's against what you awaken, against the real possibility of being happy. Because as crazy as it seems, some people are afraid of their own happiness. They think they don't deserve it. They believe that if they make room for it, something will come to destroy it. So they prefer to keep everything under control. And to maintain that control, they decide to distance themselves. And in distancing themselves, they lose you. But is that really the case? Did you leave completely, or are you still there, feeling everything, waiting for a sign, wanting to believe that she will return? If you are, I understand you. It's hard to give up on someone who affects us so deeply, but it's essential to remember. You also have a heart that feels, and it needs care too. Loving someone who feels too much is like holding a cracked mirror. You see beauty, but you also risk getting hurt. That's why it's important to ask yourself, how far can I go without hurting myself? How long can I stay without losing myself? The person who avoids you may, at this very moment, be reading and rereading old conversations, listening to your voice in saved audios, missing your laughter, your presence, your energy. Yet still, she remains silent, because fear paralyzes you. And that's where the biggest dilemma comes in. Do you wait, or do you move on? Do you insist, or do you let go? There isn't a single answer, but there is one fact. You deserve to be loved with the same intensity with which you love. You deserve presence, not doubts, eyes that seek you out, not ones that look away, messages that arrive, not silences that hurt. If that person is ever ready, they will seek you out. But maybe by the time that happens, you'll have found someone who wasn't afraid to stay. Someone who didn't run from their own intensity, and who gave themselves with the same truth that you've always carried. Because in the end, love isn't about feeling a lot or a little. It's about courage. Courage to stay. Courage to show vulnerability. Courage to be real. And if there's one thing you need to understand once and for all, it's this. True love isn't the one that confuses. It's the one that clarifies, that heals, that brings you closer. So if she comes back, pay attention, listen carefully, see if there's truth in her eyes, see if there's commitment in her words, and most importantly, see if there's still space in you to welcome her. Because love, no matter how beautiful it is, doesn't survive where only one feels, only one tries, only one stays. And you deserve so much more than someone who feels but doesn't stay. You deserve someone who feels and still chooses to stay. If this content resonated with you, if any part of your heart vibrated silently while reading, share it. Sometimes, all the other person needs to understand what they're feeling is to see themselves in that mirror. And who knows, by seeing all of this, they may decide to stop running and finally stay because deep down they already have, inside of you, and maybe, just maybe, there's still time to start over. Now tell me, if that person came back today, would you be ready to start over? Or would you just want the chance to say, now it's my turn to choose? Life is made up of meetings and partings. But when the feeling is true, there's always a chance for a reunion. And who knows, and this story may not be over yet. Maybe it's just beginning. Do you know what hurts the most about this kind of separation? It's that there's no goodbye. There's no period, just a painful comma left in the middle of the sentence. And we're left there, trying to guess whether the story has ended or if there are still pages to be written. The truth is, when someone steps back because they feel too much, silence becomes a scream stuck in their throat. A scream that says, I don't know how to handle what you evoke in me. And unfortunately, those who love with open hearts often end up hurt by those who love in silence. But don't confuse absence with indifference. Those who feel intensely suffer in silence. And however contradictory it may seem, stepping away is also a way to love, even if it's the most twisted way of all. If she's avoiding you, it's not because she doesn't care. It's precisely because she cares so much that fear paralyzes her. And believe me, sometimes feeling too much is scarier than feeling nothing at all. Now take a deep breath. Look within yourself. You deserve someone who chooses you clearly, someone who won't run from their feelings, but embraces them alongside you, someone who, even with fear, chooses to stay. If she returns, may it be wholeheartedly, with truth in her eyes and courage in her heart. And if she doesn't return, may you move forward with lightness, knowing you gave your best. Because in the end, love isn't about begging for presents. It's about finding someone who no longer knows how to stay away. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever been avoided by someone who deep down loved you more than they could show? Share your experience in the comments. I'm sure it will resonate with others too. This space is yours, and if this video helped you in any way, if it touched that sensitive spot within, please give it a like so more people can find this message. Subscribe to the channel here. We talk about real feelings, pains that almost nobody has the courage to admit, and truths that set us free. Because in the end, that's what we need. To understand that loving is confusing, intense, and sometimes it hurts, but it's also the only thing that truly transforms us. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, take care of your heart. It will still be home to someone who will know how to stay.